I can tell you. Her name is Toyah, and you're very welcome, Toyah.
Hello.
Almost old friends, born in the same area, Birmingham,
Yes.
in the Midlands.
Definitely.
You went to a girls' school, didn't you?
I went to a public school, which is a very posh, sort of upper-class upbringing, and I came out of it sort of talking like this and pretending I was one of the royal family, and it was all horrible, and I hated it.
Did you get anything out of it at all?
Yeah, I learnt to respect every person from every part of society. I don't think class systems matter, really. I was brought up to be a snob, and I was brought up to sort of look down at my nose at people who worked, basically. And I felt that was very wrong. I think everyone is equal emotionally, and that's what I learnt from the school. And it also it taught you to go out and marry a rich husband and have lots of babies. And I'm certainly not one of those. I have no intention of ever marrying or ever having babies.
What was your first job?
My first job was actually, let me think. I used to serve in a kiosk at a very famous department store in Birmingham selling cigarettes, and that was to pay for my drama school, because I used to go to drama school at the weekends. But my parents said to me if I ever wanted to do anything that wasn't something they wanted me to do, that I had to pay for it myself. So I had to earn my own keep to go to drama school.
Have you ever been out of work since that first job?
Only once. I went from Birmingham to the National Theatre Company, and after my contract ran out with them, I was about 19, I was out of work for 6 months, and that was hell. And I think to be out of work is the most degrading thing anyone can have if they have the will to work. Because work keeps your mind going, and I'm a very ambitious person. If you take work away from me, you've taken my life away from me. And I was just starved for 6 months. I starved of everything. Food, culture, the lot. I felt totally depraved. It was horrible.
There's a cliche which says rock and roll takes over your soul. Do you think that applies to you?
Well, it's a drug.
Yeah.
It's an addiction.
So you're a workaholic, really?
Total workaholic. I just love performing to people, and if the audience is taken away, I might as well be put in a nut house, in a padded cell, because there's no audience there. And it's something that you need. I can only communicate to an audience. I can't communicate very well on a one-to-one basis. It's a perversion, really. I need an audience there. I need voyeurs there to bring it out of me.
Your first experience of working, though, was in front of a camera, or at least certainly in drama anyway, and acting ability.
Yeah, well, I went to drama school full-time after I left the public school, and I was spotted there after my first term at drama school, and I got a lead role in a play, ironically about a girl who wanted to appear on Top of the Pops and sing. So this girl had to break in to the Top of the Pops studio and film herself, and that's what the play was about, and I co-wrote the songs for it. And that was my first acting role.
You've been faintly controversial, certainly quite outrageous, during the early days of your career.
I think outrageousness should be linked with humanity, and I think when you see people who are outrageous, who are not very nice people, I think they're wasting their time. I think you can still be outrageous, you can still be controversial, and you can still respect human beings at the same time. And when I see people, these dreadful kind of communist types that slag off anything that isn't communist, I think, God, you're just not worthwhile, you're defeating the issue. The whole point is humanity and keeping the human race alive. Whatever your views, the human race is number one. Your views fit in around that.
As important as anything else,
yeah.
To remain free as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can't bear being trapped, And I don't like anything that's regular. I don't like regular times, and I don't like sleeping regular hours or eating at regular times. And I don't like using knives and forks. I think it's dreadful. I've got, a pair of hands. I'll eat with those. Thank you very much. No, I think socially, my laws are very bizarre. I'm quite a quiet person, but when you stick me in a party, I go berserk. I'm not very good in restaurants because I don't like knives and forks and on chairs either. And I could be a bit loud, but I'd never hurt a human being's emotions. I'd never hurt another person if I could help it.
One of your anthems is I Want to Be Free, and this is our first look at Toyah as a singer. Toyah, and I Want to Be Free, quite a little anthem.
I haven't seen that for ages. It was wonderful.
Nice to see it again.
I was young then, 3 years ago I think it was.
I mean, the early days of when you were in rock and roll, I mean, sort of 76 till 79, those first 3 years
Yes.
were full of excitement, because, I mean, you were in films, you were releasing your first singles, weren't you?
Yeah, in 1 year I made about 3 or 4 films, which were major movies, and that sort of changed my life. At the same time, I had the band going in the punk era, and we weren't really a punk band, we were like a jazz rock band with a very kind of punky image, and I spent a lot of time touring England, which was hell for a woman. As soon as you get up north of England, you're just battling with men all the time. It's very strange. So it was a time of toughening up for me, because I'd led quite a sheltered life in Birmingham. And suddenly I was sort of out on the road with a band that were all boys, and I was a woman, and I was in punch-ups on stage and everything.
But you actually thrived on that rather sort of macho, tough cookie image, though, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think at certain times it was a mask to hide behind. When you're going on stage and people were kind of spitting at you and throwing beer cans at you and things, I wasn't going to break down. I don't kind of believe in breaking down over something like that. I stood there and took it and humiliated myself to win the audience over. But many a time I was in a punch-up, you know, sort of dived in there and had a good old fisticuffs. It was great. That sort of shocked the boys a bit, you know. My band were quite often diving in after me to pull me out of a fight so they could get on with the show.
Yeah, you got involved in another fight, which we'll talk about later on, which was for real.
Oh, right.
In those years, Jubilee, which was a very cult movie.
Yeah, Jubilee was made in the Jubilee year by Derek Jarman. There was Adamant, me, I think even Susie and the Banshees appeared in it. It was a very fashionable movie to make, and I think it will come into its own in about 5 years' time. People will watch it and go, God, you know.
That's
it's a bit
right.
like the Sex Pistols film.
You can still see Jubilee now in 1 or 2 cinemas around.
Oh, it's all over the place, yeah, especially
Britain.
it shows on the late night circuit.
Yes. And Quadrophenia as well, which is exciting.
Yeah, Quadrophenia was a great film for me to do. It was like I met The Who, and Keith Moon died just the day before we were due to start shooting, so we didn't actually get to meet him, which was a drag, because he was a hero, he was wonderful. But since then I've got to work with Daltrey in a film of our own anyway. But Quadrophenia was all about the mods and the rockers, and that was fabulous.
Another era.
Yeah.
Was David Bowie ever a hero of yours?
Yeah, David Bowie, I think, is one of those people, I never want to meet him and I never want to know him, but his work just hits, the arrow hits dead on the bullseye. Whenever I hear his work, it just does something to me. And whenever I've done auditions, I've always sung Life on Mars and always got the part. So it's become a bit of a taboo, really, David Bowie and his music for me. And there's a video you're going to show, Ashes to Ashes.
We can see it whenever you're ready.
Yeah, to me, it's the ultimate video, because it sums up Bowie up there. It sums up what I always felt was going on in his head, was this semi-madness. There's the public figure that is quite straight and quite wonderful and chic, but there's this madness up there too, which I can kind of identify with on certain days.
David Bowie, Ashes to Ashes. Bowie, a brilliant video, Ashes to Ashes. And do you find that songs that you listen to or songs that you make are very much part of the mood?
My own songs? Yeah, I like to write from failure. I find if I have something in my life that really gets up my nose or annoys me, that's when I write better. And I think it's true when people say creativity can come from failure, or it can come from a destruction of something. You can come out with a better writing technique. Usually if I'm dead happy and things are going well and I write, the lyrics that come out of me are sort of bland, you know, you could throw them away, you could burn them, no one would care. But if you've got something that's tragic that's happened in your life, the writing that comes from that, you'll find more people will identify with it. Because, I mean, I Want to Be Free was written off the back of anger, and it was written off this incredible grudge I had towards having to go to school. And I feel that even though it's a poppy song, and a lot of people find the tune naff, it does sum up a lot of what a lot of kids feel.
In 1981, things were really beginning to happen for you. You're having your first hits. You were already being voted as most exciting newcomer, best female vocalist, whatever, best rocker, best hairdo, best everything, you know. So, I mean, it all started happening in the space of quite a short time. Did you ever have a chance to sit back, look in a mirror and go, Toyah, what have you got yourself into?
Yeah, I think at the end of 1981, when you walk down the street and have kids screaming and crying at you, you kind of sit down and you think, God, this is strange. This is really weird. Because when you get down to basics, I'm more vulnerable and more human than any of that lot, and I'm more childish and I'm probably more dumb than any of that lot. Why the hell are they kind of screaming and crying at me? And that sort of confused me a bit. I enjoyed it, but it was confusing.
And you're also jack of all trades to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Toyah of all trades. I mean, you were acting, you were in films, you were singing, you were touring, you were doing so much at that stage.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, the more work, the better. Yeah, you know, that's the way it's got to be.
Do you remember Thunder in the Mountains?
Yeah, I remember Thunder in the Mountains. I had to ride a chariot, and they were going to have a stunt person ride the chariot for me. I said, no way, I'm going to ride that chariot. And I really enjoyed it.
Do you want to see it again?
Yeah, I'd love to, thank you.
Toyah, Thunder in the Mountains. The Mountains, that's Toyah. Do you look at these old videos and think, wow, I've changed? Yeah,
especially that one. I look like, when I was a kid, there was a flower pot man with little weed, and this little weed would come and go, little weed, and I look like little weed in it. So whenever I see it, I kind of laugh, you know, I kind of think of this little sunflower.
Again, this kind of sort of macho image of you on a chariot and all that scene.
Yeah, I know, I love all that. I know it's very butch, you know, but got to have these little fantasies every now and then.
When do you think you stopped being a little girl?
When did I stop?
Yeah.
I don't think I have stopped, because when I'm alone, I'm really quite strange, you know. I like to play hopscotch still and have piggybacks and things, you know. When the camera isn't on me, I am still a bit kind of immature, but I don't know. I kind of grew up physically over the past few years. I think I've grown up a bit, you know, not very much, but a bit. And
broken out.
Yeah, I kind of starting to lose the puppy fat's going a bit. But mentally, I don't think I'll ever grow up. I think age is a social disease. I just don't think you have to grow old. I think the body doesn't actually start aging till you're in your late 50s, so why should you mentally start aging when you're in your 20s? You
said you had a sort of fairly sheltered home life to a certain extent. Did you ever go abroad in those early days? Did you ever go on holidays?
Yeah. I was taken to Mallorca. But those are kind of strange days. My brother and sister used to take this wonderful delight in getting me very drunk on a drink called sangria. And actually, I had my first bout of alcohol poisoning when I was 9, thanks to my brother and sister at one of these weird barbecues. They got me very drunk. So my memories of going abroad are quite strange, you know, because of my brother and sister's perversities. But otherwise, I used to love going abroad.
I mean, Europe's a very big area to cover, and you have been out there a number of times in respect of your career.
Yeah, I've toured, and I've done TV appearances and things like that.
Good buzz?
Yeah, it's always been bubbling under. I've never been out there enough to fulfill it, which is a bit of a pain. But I hope to rectify that now. Now that I'm with an international company rather than an independent label, I intend to tour more.
Good.
Yeah.
One of your favourite bands I know, same as mine, we do have an awful lot in common, Simple Minds.
Oh, God, yeah.
Why? What's the magic about them?
It's his voice. It's the video you're about to see now, which is Don't You Forget About Me. It has this repressed energy in it that when I listen to it, I'm all bubbling inside, you know, even though the song never picks up tempo or anything like that. I like the way Lily White produces.
Because he used to produce you as well, didn't he?
Yeah, it's just everything's right.
Let's see it. Of the year so far, Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me, and he's just got total natural charisma.
It's not a what is it? A trained perfection. It's a natural thing. Because when you listen to him sing, it's not always in time, or it's not always quite in tune, but it works.
Yeah.
And what I like is that live feel, because I feel I'm a live performer. And they've kept that live performance on vinyl, which is something I'm striving for. So I always listen to them whenever I'm recording. I always listen to Simple Minds because they give me a real buzz. It's great.
Hit albums, hit singles over quite a lot of years now.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the music side in a moment. But first, just to clarify and clear up the visual side, the acting side of Toyah. You've worked with some Laurence Olivier.
Oh, yeah.
Who hopefully is known by millions all around Europe as well as in Britain.
Katharine Hepburn too.
And Katharine Hepburn, some of the best actors, actresses in the world. Were you out of your depth?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm always out my depth, because, like, you know, I'm still learning about everything. But out of all the people in the world I could have worked with, Katharine Hepburn and Laurence Olivier were the most human. They didn't act like stars or anything. They just had this great charisma, and they were very kind people, because they kept seeing my imperfections and correcting them, but not kind of putting me down. Katharine Hepburn would, during a scene, say, have the whole shoot stop. And George Cukor was directing. He says, "Hey, George, you know, this lady, she ain't on camera well enough, you know." And she'd sort of move me into a different position. So I'd have the scene. I'd be sort of mainly on camera throughout the scene. And she was very giving like that, which is very rare, very rare.
A sort of fatherly and motherly reaction towards you, really.
Totally.
You held the stage on your own for a considerable length of time in London in a very aggressive stage play, which is called Trafford Tansy, which was all about a wrestler. And you held the stage all on your Todd. Was that an experience? Oh,
God, I loved it. I think that, to me, is the greatest part I've ever played. And I'm very sad it hasn't been immortalised on film. But it was good. It was about a girl who has the hell beaten out of her from day one till the day she marries. And we had to learn how to, I learned how to Thai wrestle, which is it's like kickboxing and kung fu. It's a kind of cross between those. Because I'm so small, it didn't look right, me fighting a fully grown man. And the whole play was structured around this girl fighting all the time, but while she's fighting, she delivers the dialogue, you know, "Hello, how are you today?" You know, it's just wonderful. It's just really good, and I really enjoyed it. It was fabulous.
I came to see it, and so did many thousands of Toyah fans. They're a very loyal bunch, aren't they?
Yeah, they were there every night.
They were.
They were sort of, you could hear them outside. They didn't always come in the theatre, but they waited outside the stage door for me, and I used to go and talk to them in the intervals. I'd go, "Hi, how are you?" And they'd nick restaurant tables and chairs, you know, from around the area, and they'd be sitting out the stage door whining and dining, these kind of punk rockers, you know. It was wonderful.
The nearest we can get to a visual aspect of that is another of your videos which you want us to play, Wendy O. Williams.
Yeah, I'm not into all her music, but this video sums up how I'd like to make a video. I mean, this woman's really naughty.
It's called It's My Life. Aggressive?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Faction rude as well, perhaps.
She's a very raunchy lady and a very hard woman. I'm very different to her in that I don't think I'm as hard as that. But I just admire her.
Wendy O. Williams.
Yeah.
It's My Life. It's your life. We're almost up to date, actually. In 1984, there was another movie, which was Murder, Ultimate Grounds for Divorce.
Roger Daltrey.
Yeah.
It was really good to kind of get back on acting terms with him, because before he was the producer of Quadrophenia, and then suddenly we were making a film together, which was really good.
Is 85 the time now, the era for you to come back into the music aspect?
Yeah, what I'm doing, I'll be touring Europe, and I'm going to be kind of releasing regularly now, because I'm with a record company that I feel very confident with, and I'm just going to start really concentrating on the music for a good kind of decade, you know. and I just will fit the acting in every now and then. I want to get touring again and doing all that again, and
shaking the cobwebs out of the system.
Yeah, I just feel that I'm at my best performing live, and I haven't done enough in Europe, and I haven't done enough all over the world, and as you say, I've got to get it out of my system, and I'm going to go out and do it. I'm writing solidly now, which is something I was very lazy at in the beginning. I didn't write a lot, and now I write all the time. I love it, and I'm just going to keep churning it out until I look old, you know.
Another hit for you. I've got some smashing pictures to show you, by the way, after this of Toyah. This is Don't Fall in Love, and the new release from Toyah. Don't Fall in Love from Toyah. Very simple, but very effective video.
Yeah, I didn't want a video with a too complicated a storyline, because the subject matter of the song was kind of lovey-dovey, and it was mainly about jealousy and the female aggressor. I didn't want the storyline to sort of dictate to the audience too much. I just wanted a performance. So it was quite nice. And we did it with Terence Donovan, who's a very famous photographer, and he made me look human, you know.
Let's just show one, two of the photographs. He's done these, hasn't he?
He made me look like a woman.
There you go. That's one of the shots that was done for Toyah. I hope you can see that. What I'm going to ask you to do is to sign those, if you would.
Yeah.
And then one of the other guys on Sky Trax will give them away on a programme, a competition. So if you could sign those, perhaps just towards the end. And also we've got 3 sleeves, which have got a lovely colour one as well, so we'll just show that off very proudly. There we go. If you could sign those as well, and we can send those out.
Definitely.
Yeah? So we'll do that. Is this year been the time when you've perhaps matured most?
Yeah,
I mean, this whole new look is a mature... It's the woman, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but it's keeping up with the times. I don't want to live in the past, and especially fashion-wise and image-wise, I don't like looking the same all the time. And I just feel 1985 is a year of progression within fashion that we haven't been through in quite some time. The punk elements kind of hung over the past 4 years. And I just want to change out of that and move on to another direction. I don't like being dictated to by fashion. In that I had a look of zany coloured hair, you know, pink hair. That's not how I want to look for the rest of my life. And I just keep moving on with the times, really.
Any fears for the future?
Any fears?
Yeah.
No, all I care about is Earth remains Earth, you know, and human race remains alive. That's all I care about. There's no fears within my work or my life. That's all, you know, a gamble anyway, but I'm not scared of it. I care for humanity at this moment in time, you know. I can't bear to see people blowing each other up.
Well, it's worked for you so far. We're going to play out with the Rhythmics, which is another...
Yeah, just Annie Lennox is just so brilliant. I mean, she's got a brilliant voice, brilliant presence, and her videos are brilliant, and the music's brilliant, you know, so why not play out with her?
It's all right, I've never done this before, but I've got to say...
Oh, thank you.
You're smashing.
It's nice to
be
back.
Good luck. Thank you very much
indeed. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.